We've got a major gameplay update coming out. Well, I suppose it's two major gameplay updates coming out. One's coming out today. We got the patch notes for, and then a second one EA hinted at actually has a ton of big changes in there as well. Some were a bit controversial, but we'll go and talk about that, of course. God knows we've needed some gameplay changes. I think that, yeah, the fact that this game can even be debated on it being worse gameplay-wise than FC24, not a great sign. So it'd be nice to see some changes. They're back from the holiday break now, but I don't know. And obviously, considering an EA Direct tweet happened, right? They must not have talked about Haaland, and they didn't. So we have no word on Erling Haaland still, that whole debacle, that we might not see one. They might just be a, hey, if you open the pack, you get compensation for it, which obviously should not be how it is, but that's how EA do it. I was seeing some comments about that. It's like, why would EA do it that way? I don't know. Don't ask me. That's how they always do it. But anyway, we'll dive into some of the patch notes and the changes today. There's some Team of the Week leaks as well, because that comes out today. And then we also got more Evolution leaks, guys, and you'll never guess what they look like. If you guys would like to buy coins, you can go to MMOXP.com. There will be a link in the description. They are the cheapest and safest option. You can use my code JFC at checkout for a 5% discount. But okay, thank you all for joining, of course. Yoann Wissa came out today, and long ball plus on a winger is pretty unique. I think that it's cool to see that. I definitely would not take the Trivela plus one, even though the stats are debatably better on him. I think you're better off with the long ball plus one and then hoping an Evo comes out sometime in the next month that you can up the shooting in. But okay, let's get on to the title of the video. Title update number 7 will soon be available. They're continuing to focus on changes based on community feedback. First tweet was, we've seen a lot of matches where first-time lofted through passes were being used in an unnatural way, most notably on kickoffs or from bad angles out of the back. They have reduced the accuracy of first-time lofted through passes in those situations. Okay, we've needed that for a while, so it's good to see that it finally happened. Next up, we address an issue where the positioning system could sometimes move players too close to the dribbler when cutting off passing lanes, leading to auto tackles. The same issue could also pull midfielders out of position, crowding the ball carrier and reducing passing options. This is a big one to me. If this somehow ends up helping with the auto press, that's nice, because they have attempted to make changes to the auto press in previous FIFAs. Well, I guess it was just last year mainly, and it ends up maybe helping slightly, but actually not helping too much. Maybe this was actually the base of the problem and they couldn't figure out why they couldn't fix the auto press, and maybe this will help then, because hypothetically your CDM would get too close when trying to cut off a passing lane and they just end up tackling the ball away automatically. So okay, I hope that that actually does something to maybe the auto press. And then the next tweet before we get into the full patch notes, we found the goalkeeper was triggering a give up animation, something you see when they have no chance of getting to the ball too frequently when running back towards goal on chip shots. I don't really know why they went into detail on that one, but okay, let's read the patch notes now. We're gonna read through all the things that I think are notable, but if you want to pause the video, you always can to try and read through the entire thing. Okay, so the fourth bullet point here, when opening a pack containing a double walkout, the details of the second player item were shown. Details of the first player reveal will now be displayed in the tunnel sequence. So it's like last year's double walkouts where it would hide the best player instead of showing the best player, if that makes sense. So now when the card like turns, it'll show the better player, not the worst player, which is kind of more dramatic, I suppose, for pack openings. They did change that from last year, and now into gameplay stuff, the first two bullet points we read already. They address goalkeepers deflecting the ball sometimes instead of catching it. Okay. Address an issue where skill moves could be unresponsive or not be triggered at all. We know that can be a thing, or at least I know for sure that that has been a thing for a while, but we've seen these kinds of bullet points and updates before, and nothing tends to really happen with them, so all we can do is hope. But this is no guarantee that anything you see here is actually going to really make any difference at all, but we can hope, and we can't judge without playing it. The next two, not really a big deal. You've got, this one was a pretty important one. Address issues where attempting a lobbed through pass would sometimes result in a through ground pass instead. So instead of it being lofted, it would be on the ground, which happens a lot, I think, in this game specifically. Next two bullet points, not really too important. This one, sometimes the goalkeeper could trigger an unrealistic jumping animation during a save. I don't know when that happened or if that'll make goalkeepers worse. You know, sometimes there can be a bullet point in here that you don't really realize is important until it actually comes out and you realize, oh, that was actually a really important bullet point that we kind of glossed over. But moving on, this bullet point addressed an issue where a super cancel sometimes did not stop the player from running after the ball. That also has happened many times. Super cancels L1, L2, and R1, R2 at the exact same time. In case some of you didn't know that. That's kind of it for the gameplay updates. Clubs you can look at if you want to. Career mode you can look at if you want to. That's pretty much it. So I'll kind of stop it right about here. If you want to pause the video and look through them, you can. But this was the first update that they kind of talked about today. today, and there's some stuff in there, you know, auto press potential fixes, first time lofted through passes, but that was really it. The big juicy stuff came from the next tweet. So if you're into big juicy things, you came to the right place. Following title update number 7, our next planned update will continue to focus on community feedback, including but not limited to these bullet points. And this was quite interesting because ground pass speed. So I wonder if that means it's going to be buffed. I would assume that that's what that means. Helping the game move maybe a little bit faster. That would be kind of nice. Biggest one here, players without the ball catching up to the dribbler regardless of pace difference. That is one of the biggest fundamental things that every decision you make has to account for, is that you cannot outrun the center backs or the fullbacks. You pretty much can't at all. So to me, if this change makes it similar to last year, the year before that, this will be probably one of the biggest changes they've made in this game yet, because pace has been basically irrelevant for a while now, apart from quick step plus. That's been the biggest thing to be able to outrun anybody. Otherwise, if you don't have that, I mean, you can't really outrun people at all. Third bullet point, keeper positioning. Okay, I would assume that means the near post shots. People have been complaining about near post shots a lot, but we'll get into that more in a sec here. Finesse shot play style balancing. That one would be pretty big as well. Finesse shots getting nerfed potentially. Hopefully that means just outside the box, because God help us if it doesn't. AI defender interceptions. Okay, that's going to be very nice. Tackle backs as well. That's very good. And last one, assisted shooting, lace and finesse shots. So I mean, I'm assuming they mean Trivella and finesse shots there, as in nerf them, I would assume. So a couple of things. I think that yes, you can nerf the finesse shot playstyle or the Trivella playstyle, which does not need to be nerfed, by the way, inside the box, that is, but that's neither here nor there right now. You can nerf these things if you want to. The defending has to be nerfed as well. I mean, you cannot keep the defending as is and be like, yep, nerf the finesse shots. I mean, scoring is already harder this year than it has been since probably FIFA 22, I would think. 23 was much easier. 24 was even easier. One-on-one finishing, I'm talking. This year, it's harder, I think, than in both of those games. And yet, we still want to nerf the finesse shot. We still want to nerf assisted shooting. Okay. I mean, I understand it to a certain extent, but we're going to need to see the defense be drastically decreased as well. And one thing that could actually be affecting finishing a little bit this year is this, actually. And the reason for that is because when you do have the ability to like slightly outrun somebody, say you're on a counter attack and you have that rapid plus Erling Haaland, and you're a step ahead for about a half a second, that guy's going to close the space on you. You're going to have a defender on your hip when you shoot. That's pretty much every one-on-one. There's going to be a defender on your hip when you shoot because they can catch you in the blink of an eye. So I do want to say there is a chance that this does help one-on-one finishing, because you're going to be like basically by yourself more than you would be pre-patch. If that makes any sense at all, that could be a difference there as well with the finishing. But I don't know. It was up for debate because people saw the finesse shot and were like, great, you know, more defense. But then they do say here that we're going to see less defense, potentially with interceptions. They did not say like the backline positioning. So it's still going to probably be a bit drop back. But if the AI is a little bit worse, you can't catch them at least. Punishing that 100 depth right now because you can outrun people. That would help a lot in terms of the offense. So let's see how it plays out before we freak out. And if it sucks, and it absolutely sucks hairy balls, and then we'll freak out about it. But like, I think we should wait and see. The gameplay this year has to be better. It can't continue to be like this. I'm sorry. It just, I personally think that the fact that the gameplay is like this, and they had last year's abysmal, just pitiful excuse of a gameplay version, and it's not obviously better this year, is a big issue. And that is something that there's just no excuse for, in my opinion. But let me know what you guys think, of course. Now on to FUT Agent and his evolution leaks, right? It's confirmed today that it's in a max 85 Evo. Sissoko can be used. We saw yesterday Long Lay can be used. It's like Long Lay, Sissoko. Down here, he said that Tagliafico can be used, and he also said that C-McCann cannot be used. So it's gonna be a max 85 Evo once again, looks like. And he was asked if he knew when it was coming out. Somebody replied and said, you know if it's coming today, which was the Wisa content day. He said, je ne sais pas, one of the next Evos equals no schedule. So even he doesn't know when it's dropping, but it's another max 85 Evo. And listen, okay, I try not to be the conspiracy guy. I really actually do. I know it might not seem like that. I try not to. If we see another re-released Evo, which just says like something 2 on it, it's max 85 again. What is the plan? I don't think there was one, because they're not following a plan. Something's probably wrong with them. I just find it so hard to believe that there's nothing wrong with them. For 3 weeks in a row since that first attacking avalanche, it's the exact same Evos back to back to back to back to back to back to back. honest, I'm stunned by that if that was actually an intentional design choice. And I think anybody saying that something's broken, considering how broken the game can be, is a pretty reasonable assumption in my opinion. But okay, let's move on. We've got Team of the Week 17 coming today. These are some of the players leaked in it. We got Payor, Gyökeres is going to be in it. These stats are predictions, by the way. Kirkej in it once again. Losandro Martinez, Anthony Gordon, Ross Barkley, Scott McTominay's in it. It's not a very expensive Team of the Week, but maybe some interesting cards like a Gyökeres, a featured Kirkej, right? Something like that could be interesting, but not probably the most exciting ever, which, I mean, Team of the Week in year 13, it could use some more changes. Let's just say that. And then we got this news, which was kind of bizarre, and that was Patry and Dani Olmo were removed from a Team of the Year nominees. So Dani Olmo, obviously, I mean, he's not making it in Team of the Year, so it doesn't really matter at all. But then we got Patry removed, which was strange, and she was a genuine contender to be in the Team of the Year. In fact, she probably would have made it. That's like what people are saying. And she was just completely removed today, just for no reason at all. Or at least we thought it was no reason, but then Chewboy chimed in actually on this, who obviously used to work at EA. He says, saw Patry/Olmo removed from the voting. Normally, it's a weird licensing rule EA likes to follow for PES clubs. They'll stick to only 5 players from those teams, so PES can't say they're focusing on their players for promos. Someone check, but there's probably 10 total Barca players in men's and women's now. And he also replied on here saying, Olmo might also be a La Liga thing with the whole registration dispute too, though. And that could be, but the thing is, like, why would Patry be removed then? So I'm pretty sure it is this whole thing here. But all of it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. Like, I guess they have to stick to 5 players from each so they don't step on PES's toes. I guess that's what they're worried about or something. So Salma, Hansen, Putellas, Bonmati, Mapileon can all be in it, but they draw the line at 6. Like, it is strange. I mean, that seems like it's why they did it, but it is just kind of an odd, like, arbitrary barrier to be, okay, 10 players, nobody else. So anyway, the point is, we won't see Patry Team of the Year. If you like Patry Guijarro, you're probably not getting a Team of the Year card for her because I guess they don't want to step on PES's toes. And also a follow-up on what I said yesterday about James's contract. It was made official today. He is now a free agent again. So base and promo card added, and 2 days later, he's no longer part of a club. So that, enjoy your James card while you got him, because I don't know if they can give him one if he's not under contract with Vallecano. I could be wrong about that, but I don't know if they can give him one. So we might have gotten the only James card, just so you know. One of the biggest debates on Twitter for the last like day or two has been, is Konate good? For some reason, I think Konate is great. I've really liked him so far since I've been using him. I love having him in my team next to Van Dijk. Apparently that's not like what everyone thinks. It's pretty even actually on if you like him or if you really don't like him. So if you like Konate, let me know. But if you don't like him, I'd love to hear why and like what you play him in as well. And here's a fun little concept of what like all these flashback cards could potentially look like. The cards that were just added today: Martial, Royce, Sanchez, Balotelli, right? We'll see probably half of these cards end up in the game eventually as flashbacks. It's kind of a reminder to, once again, it's a good thing if you have a lot of fodder right now, okay? I know you probably want to spend it all on players coming out and you want to get players now, but fodder for Team of the Year, if you have it, for SBCs, for anything at all, you're gonna love it. So just hold on to it all. Go save up some stuff. Go do some player picks right now in terms of like the objectives. Just stock up on fodder is a better way to put it. Simple as that. You'll be very happy that you did that when we get to Team of the Year time, and just really a week from now basically is when warm-up starts. And you also got this tweet that was, Salah is the Player of the Month winner again. Now obviously that's like a pretty obvious thing to assume right now, and we've heard nothing about this from anywhere else, so I don't want to say it's fake or anything like that, but if someone were to tweet something out because they just wanted to seem like they have insider information like this, it would be this tweet. And this guy actually does have leaks, so I'm not saying that it's fake at all. What I'm just trying to say, I guess, is that I don't think this changes much of what we thought really, and we've heard it from nowhere else, so just take it for what you will, right? I'm assuming Salah is going to win it anyway, so it's kind of a pointless thing to even debate about regardless. But like I said, fodder, just hold on to it, okay? Just don't get too antsy, just keep it. Okay, so we talked a lot about the market yesterday. I won't even get into it too much. The only thing I'm going to say here is that with Salah Player of the Month, you might see right wingers go down a bit, but other than that, like, we talked a bunch about it yesterday. If you want to go watch that video, you guys can, but there's not really a whole lot to say about it right now. Okay, on your comments, we've got OG, who says, why has no one talked about Ashley Young? He's been on FUT GG for like a week, and he is still not in the game. If anyone has any answers, please tell me, and let me help you with that. Well, Ashley Young, if you guys don't know, we saw him leaked months ago. I mean, it was about a month ago, right? When these cards hadn't come out yet. They were in the new season last season. Ashley Young was supposed to be one of the cards that was coming out in this kind of mini promo, just never came out. Don't know what happened to him. He's actually got his upgrade on FUT and FUTBin, I believe, and he's just not in the game. There's no way to get him. He's just simply not in there. And it sucks because like this card actually has fullback plus, which is hard to find. And these play styles are a really good combination, actually. Long ball's good. Whipped is great. Intercept, anticipate, quick step, like a really nice card, actually. Like a really good card, and it just doesn't exist. You can't get him. So yeah, hopefully he comes out. I'm doubting it though at this point. And I was honestly surprised just how many of you have not packed a team of the year. It was, I think we might have gotten about 100 comments just simply saying, no, I've never packed one, which I was actually surprised about. And many of you said like, oh yeah, FIFA 17, 18, whatever, and not packed one, which it's pretty crazy. It just shows you if you're new to the community, new to FIFA, like it's so hard to pack one. Save packs since FIFA 19 or since FIFA 20. He saved packs, never packed one, right? Been playing since FIFA 95, not packed team of the year. I mean, that's pretty insane. And the last comment's actually a Reddit post. I was kind of like curious to know what you guys thought about this. If you're wondering why we got so many Finesse Plus SPCs and Evos recently, do you think this is why? Is because they knew this was coming out and they're making it so that you're more inclined to change your team because Finesse shot players won't be as good? Do you think that's why, or do they not have the foresight to do that? I don't know. It's definitely an interesting little thing to think about. But okay, that's it for me. Thank you all for watching. I love you all. See you soon. Peace.